Oh, I like the map at the top.
Yeah.
That's a really good idea.
Yeah, I thought it would make it easier.
Oh my
Yeah,
god,
that's nice.
thank you. Oh, we should all do that. That's a really good idea.
Well, guess what? You haven't done your adolescent line. You can get it.
Yeah.
This is your purse, Katie.
Yeah.
It's adorable.
All right. We'll try to take just 15 minutes with each of these. Try to condense our themes a little bit, but go ahead.
So you can see at the top, mother Heidi, she's 35. Father is Mark, 36. Child number 1, Sophie, is 7 years old, and Mia is 3, the younger sister. So the Smith family comes to see you with concerns regarding their kids and the relationship between the parents. For the past 2 months, Mark and Heidi have been struggling to raise their kids, and it is affecting their relationship. Sophie has grown more quiet and reserved than usual. Her once bubbling personality has not been showing like it used to. At family dinner, she remains quiet and pushes her food around the plate. She spends more time in her room and used to love playing with her sister Mia, but no longer does. She gets irritated with Mia more often than not because Mia gets angry at Sophie for not playing dolls with her and throws a fit. Sophie's behavior started soon after their beloved family cat died. Sophie considered this cat her best friend. The change in Sophie's behavior has angered Mark because he doesn't know what to do with her and has said to Sophie, "Get over it. It was only a cat. There will be harder things in life." Heidi tries to intervene when Mark gets angry, but he tells her not to. Heidi has been a stay-at-home mom since Mia was born. She recently decided to go back to work. She got a job as a receptionist at a vet clinic. Since Heidi has gone back to work, this means she needs someone to take care of Mia while she and Mark are at work during the day. This new change has been hard on Mia. Mia constantly cries on the drive to daycare, and the daycare lady has reported to Heidi that Mia has not been playing well with the other children there. Mia will yell and steal toys from the other children. When she misbehaves like this, the daycare lady disciplines Mia by having her sit in the timeout chair for 15 minutes. Mia has now started misbehaving the same way at home with the family. Heidi reports that she is exhausted and tired because she cleans and cooks for the household on top of her job and does a majority of the child care when home. Mark works 50-hour weeks at a machine job. He says that he is exhausted and tired too when he gets home from work and expects things to be in order for him. He prefers to stay out of the kitchen and child care. Recently, the children's new behavior has caused more stress and tension between Mark and Heidi. They fight nearly every day about the right way to parent or about Mark's anger.
It's a lot. Powered control wheel.
Yeah, I think that would apply between the relationship.
Have you heard of that book about, I don't think we've talked about it in school, but it has to do with division of household tasks. Hang on.
Fair play.
Yes, that's what it is.
What is it?
Fair play. It's also a little game of cards. You can have like a little deck of cards, and then you're supposed to go through it and be like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this.
It's supposed to be really good, a good way of like working through not just like the end result, but the things that go into why things are the way they are.
I would ask, let's see. I would ask Sophie about their cat.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say, like, what was, I heard that, your cat died or whatever. I wouldn't say that. I would say.
You don't need to talk about the cat. She just needs to get over it.
Worst things are going to happen to you.
Worst things are gonna happen.
Yeah.
3-year-old. Buck up. What was your cat's name? Mr. Pickles. Great
Yes.
name.
Mr. Pickles.
No, what's that?
Oh,
I just
it's a
made
TV show.
Oh,
It is the most offensive,
okay.
grotesque, amazing thing
Grotesque.
ever.
Okay. I think I
But-
might have seen it. Anyway, what kind of cat? What color was the cat?
Orange.
What did you like to do? Like, did you guys play with toys and stuff?
Yeah, we cuddled all the time. I'd fall asleep with her. We played all the time.
You miss your cat? Yeah. She was your best friend. I'm sorry that happened.
Okay, I'm going to cue into something on that interaction.
Oh.
No, good. I
I
want to highlight something you might pick up. So, you said cuddled.
Mhm.
What else? You said cuddled.
They would sleep. Fell asleep together.
Yeah.
Fell asleep with the cat. So, what might that indicate?
She's lonely at night.
Nighttime routines disrupted.
Okay.
She had an attachment with her
Yep. I'm going for something very specific here. I just want to highlight. So, cuddle. Think cuddle.
Oh, okay.
Sensory.
Sensory.
You know, so like a lot of times, weighted blankets or, some people have like blankies from their childhood with silk on the end that just they used to rub and soothe themselves.
Oh, I used to do
I had a jacket that would take a
Yep.
tag, and I was.
Yeah.
The tag.
Yeah.
Yes, my boyfriend was.
I would wear them out so bad that my mom had to like pretend that like she put them in the dryer and a new one. It just came because they would not be blankets anymore. And she was like, "You can't carry this around. People will probably arrest me." So and she had like a big stack of them from like church ladies who made them at the hospital or whatever. So she just
She
sort
was
of-
prepared.
Oh, she was
Here you go.
Did they work as well? The new ones work as well?
Yeah, I didn't know. Apparently, I don't know. I mean, I had it a long time. I was like, dryers were great. Anyway, but yeah, I get that.
So what happens if a child finds a way to soothe through their sensory needs and then loses that and doesn't have anything to replace it? And they
Nothing
don't
there.
they don't recognize or necessarily know that that's helping them regulate their emotions. And the parent just wants to say get over it, but has no idea that there might be a linkage there, where just maybe you can't get another cat, but maybe there's something else that can come and help with that regulation. I could be wrong, but am I wrong? Or
No,
am I
that's
right?
No, that's spot on. Oh, that's perfect.
Because I mean, have you ever seen a parent who like realizes that their kid forgot their favorite stuffed animal?
Mhm.
I mean, the look of panic.
Mhm.
So yeah, that totally makes sense to like work on like, well, what else can we use or no?
Right, get him a blankie with kitties on it, or
Yeah.
maybe a stuffed animal
Yeah,
or
yeah.
something to replace that.
Be curious about the dad. Is it the dad who responded in such a callous way? Like,
Yes.
I wonder if he also had a pet that died and like hadn't gotten that taken care of in his own. Yeah. Or maybe he never had a cat and some or a pet and some psychoeducation about attachment and attachment to things that aren't human. And
Sounds like you grew up on a farm.
like I grew up on a
No,
farm.
because you're such a hick.
You know all those East Coast farms where they play lacrosse and fence.
With your fencing lessons and things. So I figured you grew up in a
Oh,
farm.
you meant fencing. You were building fences.
No. No, because like people because my parents both grew up on farms and they have a very different view of pets.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh,
like
yeah.
not that it's
Right.
better or worse. He sounds just callous, but like
Mhm.
you know, sometimes pets are just they're strays. They come in, they come out, and it's not a big deal.
Or they just look at it as like cycle of life, you
Yeah.
know, it's just part
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah.
Which is fine, but that's not how the daughter is
Exactly.
incorporating this animal into grief, like conversations about grief and animals. I'm looking at you. Aw.
Is Sophie? Okay, so Sophie, right? Is she the younger one or the older one?
The older one. Sophie is 7.
Sophie is 7, and she's the one who's upset about the cat.
Yes. Yeah. And Mia is 30.
Can we turn it on one more time? Just to, like, there were a lot of
There's a lot of
details there. Thank you.
would ask if the parents if they can like pinpoint a time when they remember, because they say that she had a bubbly kid, and then has grown more quiet. Do you remember like a time, how long that's been going on, or like can you pinpoint a time when maybe that changed?
When the cat died.
I think I might try to do so. There's so many ages and like different processing abilities in this. It seems like an emotion, so I might do it like experiential initially, really gentle, like have some type of prop or cards and be like, pick this and then tell me why you picked it and what it represents for you. Or like, it could be like stuffed animals, or it could be like figurines, just to try to get like access to emotions out, and see what the 3-year-old picks and the 7-year-old, and then the parents too.
Mm-hmm.
I remember I watched a case study of there was like a bunch of different stuffed animals, like a lion and a dog and a cat, and like you pick those stuffed animals based off of like how you were feeling that day, and like that represents you. So kind of like something similar to what you just said.
Yeah, like not even like what's going on in the past, but just like where are you at today? Where's everyone? And it could be so simple for the 3, because that's hard to have all like a 3-year-old and a 7-year-old in the room.
Maybe like the feelings wheel, where it's called a wheel of like
Yeah.
different emotions.
Some visual for the kids, so they don't check out.
I'm kind of curious about what each of them hope will be better because of therapy. Like what is Mark's end game? What's Heidi's end game? What are the kids hoping to get from it? Like, I'm not quite sure. I know what success will look like for them.
Do you want me to answer that?
Oh yeah, you want to know? What is?
Mark just wants the nuisance to stop. He just wants everything to go back to
Quiet.
be like, to be quiet.
So when he comes
To
home
be
at the end of a
dealt with.
50-hour work week, what does he want?
Peace and quiet.
Okay.
Peace at home. No fighting with Heidi and no problems with the kids. Mia throwing tantrums and getting upset, and Sophie being
Where
quiet.
did Mark
whenever he's
learn that having a family should look really peaceful and that's normal? Does Mark feel like most families have a smooth, simple, quiet household?
I don't know, but that's what he wants.
Yeah.
That's what he feels like he needs, I guess.
Mm-hmm. And if he doesn't have that, what does he think about that? What might others think, or what does he think about a household that's in that kind of turmoil, or whatever word he would use?
That it's kind of shameful. It's seen as shameful.
Of
That,
who? Shameful of.
It's a failing family. It's not how it's supposed to be, I guess.
Mhm. A lot of pressure to feel. What about Heidi? Does Heidi really want?
I suppose she would want something similar, just like a healthy marriage, help with what she's doing, and help with the kids and around the house, for things to be more equal in distribution. And she would do anything for her kids, so she wants to help them.
Mm-hmm.
What that's tripping me up with this one is what's about the daycare situation. So the daycare is disciplining by having her sit on a timeout chair. So I'm getting tripped up on what to do about, like, how to approach asking Heidi why she decided to go back to work when Mia was 3. And like, I'm guessing it was financial, or maybe it was that she just wanted to get outside the home again. I don't know.
I feel like 15 minutes is like a really long time for
Yeah.
a 3-year-old to like sit in a chair. Like developmentally, it seems like that's not.
Yeah. So then, like, how to share that in a gentle, non-shameful way that's like, whatever's going on at daycare is maybe not the best for Mia, without feeling like they are, without panicking them, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Since you've been trained by a professional daycare person,
Right. Yeah.
Right,
you all
right.
know that.
Well, I think too, like sitting in a timeout doesn't necessarily help it. It just teaches them how to not get caught next time.
Yeah, it's just punishment.
Well, developmental.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's dog training right there.
Right.
But like you're saying, that doesn't teach them. Why is that? Developmental, why doesn't that teach them?
They can't make the jump of like, I'm sitting here in this chair because of this.
Right.
Yes.
That's an abstract thought.
Also, isn't playing well with others not necessarily? It's developmentally normal at that age, and by that age, I can't remember what age. What age are they again?
3 to 7.
Yeah, like isn't that like it should be that they're having difficulty playing well with other children because that's the time where they're learning how to do that.
Skills training and scaffolding.
Right. Figure out boundaries and what's acceptable.
That's exactly what I was going for with that too. So
Oh, okay, good.
yeah.
So you see the normalness in this. One other thing I want to point out for your consideration. So the cat, losing the cat was a shift. Potentially, is there anything else in there that may have just been compounding on, or just kicked it into gear, developmental wise?
You mean in the ages of the kids? You mean?
Yeah, we're talking Sophia.
Right.
Possibly.
7.
You didn't really
Wait.
probably jump into this. There are different times when brain transitions happen. And 7 is kind of one of those brain transition times. So like 7 and 9, when you see behavior changes, yes, maybe something happened, but it can also be times, or like, that 11 to 12 as they're going into middle school, there are just some natural brain developmental transition times where you will expect to see behavior shifts. And so sometimes it's because something happened, but other times it's just because their brains just shifted. And you're going to see different behaviors. Little Sophie, who acted this way, is now acting this way. And it's completely normal. So I thought of that when I saw that, like, 7. Interesting. Now, the cat, yes, but that just may be a compounding factor. She turned 7 and the cat died. She's more, a little bit more reclusive at this point. Could just be her personality. She might be a little bit more shy. Younger kids sometimes don't have that kick in until they hit a brain shift, and then they might shift into either a more extroverted or a shyer state, depending on who they are.
Question off of that.
Yeah.
Say you're working with a real family, and you say it's just kind of part of their brain development. You kind of go with the flow. This is what's happening. How do you go with the flow? Do you just reinforce things, or let them know the behavior's okay? But if they're having, I'm just. How would you go as a parent at home? How would you go?
You can talk about it. That's a trick. That's a great thing to learn how to navigate. So, this behavior, being quiet and being a little bit more withdrawn to yourself, is that a bad thing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But if there's a problem behavior that's kind of part of the shift, it's letting them know it's normal. You're going to go through some changes, and sometimes you're going to be happy, sad, angry, and you're going to feel like you just need to express that in a certain way. And parents are here to teach you what's okay or not. We're not going to get mad at you. Hopefully, that would be my recommended strategy is understanding what's happening so you can talk about, first meet them in their emotion to motion, let it come down, then come in later with the cognitive and just say, reinforcing that that's not, it's okay, it's going to happen, but we just want to remind you that kind of behavior, we want to help you work past that, because in the long term, that's not okay.
So kind of like a gentle parenting approach. Yeah.
But it's not just saying everything's okay.
Yeah.
It's been saying it's not okay, and we understand, and we're going to work on it together.
Mm-hmm.
We're with you, not against you in this process. All right, we have 10 minutes.
Really?
Yeah, can we get in our last one?
Sure. Yes. Being very simple.
We're all pros by now, children.
Oh my God.
Next week.
How much energy. Do you want me to read it or do you want to?
I would love you to.
I'm just taking it home in the car now.
So with this one, let's read through it, and then I want everybody to pick one thing that you noticed. So we won't have as much time to discuss it, but pick out one thing that really stood out to you.
Henry is a 7-year-old boy who lives with his parents Rebecca and Jamie, and older sister Eliza. His parents describe Henry as a bright and happy kid with a lot of energy, who enjoys school and loves playing outside with his friends or the family's 2 dogs. Rebecca and Jamie say Henry has always been a typical boy and pretty independent, but has become more clingy than usual. Several times over the past 5 months, Henry has expressed not wanting to go to school, and when it's his turn to pick the family's Saturday activity, it's usually indoors. About 6 months ago, a severe thunderstorm came through the area while Henry... I was like, you should know this. About 6 months ago, a severe thunderstorm came through the area while Henry and his sister were at school. He remembers it got really dark really fast, and he had to keep his hands over his ears because the alarms were so loud. Henry's teacher walked with their class to the gymnasium where they sat with the rest of the school for about 40 minutes until the storm passed. Henry recalls hearing big fat rain on the roof and the loudest thunder ever. At one point, the power went out and the gym was dark for a few seconds before the generator kicked in, and Henry remembers a lot of kids were screaming. He wanted to go find Eliza, but his teacher said she would be okay and their classes needed to stay together. Once the storm was over, Henry remembers the lights in the hallways and their classroom were half on and half off. And when they looked out the windows, some trees had fallen and there were leaves and sticks everywhere. Rebecca and Jamie were late to pick up because of road obstructions and down stoplights. Henry's teacher waited with him and Eliza inside until their parents arrived. Since then, Henry's parents say whenever a thunderstorm is forecasted, he immediately becomes anxious and refuses to leave his parents' side. If Henry isn't with Rebecca or Jamie during a storm, he starts to cry and becomes inconsolable until they come home. When the family is away from their house, Henry often asks about the weather, and if it starts to rain, he gets worried and wants to go home. He reacts to alarms, sirens, and other loud noises more than he used to. Henry's school recently held a practice emergency drill, and when the alarms went off, he started to panic and asked if he could go find Eliza. Even though there wasn't a storm, Rebecca picked Henry up early because he said he had a bad stomachache. When asked if anything else has changed in their family, Rebecca and Jamie say they've started a business and have been working more and spending less time with the kids than they'd like. Rebecca's mom has been helping out a lot, and they have a longtime babysitter that they trust. Both have said Henry has started to ask about his parents' whereabouts multiple times when they're gone. Jamie says they told Henry that he has to go to school and that when they're not around, his grandma, teachers, Eliza, and their babysitter will always make sure he's safe. Rebecca and Jamie are here with Henry today because the family is exhausted and they aren't sure what to do.
Makes me think of the just like sitting down and maybe like talking about this with him and seeing why he feels that way and giving sorry, I'm losing my train of thought.
Henry?
Yeah, giving Henry just like the affirmation or attention that he needs, or reassurance, that's what I was looking for. And just, yeah, and any time that he feels scared, to let him know, like, you can come and talk to us about this, and try to keep reassuring him that he is okay and that this stuff is going to happen.
Sort of going off of what you said, Alexis, I'm wondering how his parents reacted when they picked him up. Because I'm sure he was distressed and wondering what they did, if anything, to comfort him, or if they were like, well, it's over now.
Let's just say, I'll answer that. I remember that we just needed to get home and get dinner on the table, so we just kind of minimized it. Didn't want to make a really big deal about it. Thought the less we made of it, the better it would be for the kids.
And that makes a lot of sense. You'd want to try to protect them from having to feel those feelings. I am wondering though if it kind of stuck with Henry because there was no discussion about it, and if he could maybe still use some of that comfort now, even though it's been a while.
How would you do that now?
How would
I'm
I
a
do
parent.
that?
I'm saying, yeah. I'm teeing up. I'm setting you a soft love. Yeah.
That's a great question. I think maybe if you're able to sort of get down on his level and comfort him when he gets upset about these things, like if he's a hugger, if you wanted to hug him, and otherwise some like genuinely being with those emotions instead of just trying to get them over as quickly as possible can stop them from showing up again. So just holding that space to kind of deal with that discomfort.
That was beautifully said.
Thank
Yes,
you.
I agree.
I think maybe doing some like rain play, like for the parents in like the bathtub, like holding like a picture of like the water, like the watering can, like above them, and like pretending like, but like more on a joking level, not just like relive your trauma, and kind of like desensitizing them through exposure, and reauthoring like that story or that narrative with him about the rain, and then like maybe like throwing it up in the air at first, and like look, or and singing rain songs or what have you, and slowly get into like maybe like desensitizing to loud noises through more kind of softer noises that get louder, like banging on things or what have you.
To go off of that, I used to be like really afraid of thunderstorms growing up too, and I think it definitely depends on the family, but you could twist this in so many ways. My grandparents used to tell me that when it was thundering, the angels were playing bowling up in yes, and like they had gotten a strike, and that's why it lightninged, and like the rain was the angels watering the garden, and I don't know why, but that helped me so much because I could like visualize that happening, and it made it a lot less scary for me too. So
Maybe if there's a fun book out there.
yes,
That,
yes,
Right.
We were thinking about that, Tammy.
Yeah.
That Tammy had,
yeah.
I would want to hear from him too on what parts scared him the most. Was it just being disconnected from family in a time of crisis, or was it the alarms and that really loud noise?
What if you asked me that and I started to talk about it, and then I was talking about the day, and then I got to a point and I was just like, I don't want to talk about it anymore.
Yeah, like super flooded.
Yeah, and I would tell him that that's okay too. You know, I would try to give him reassurance, like that's okay, we don't have to go there. But yeah, I would definitely want to hear from Henry what part scared him the most, because for some people in a storm, it's the lightning and thunder. Sometimes it is the alarm. Like when I was a kid, I hated storm, but it was the sirens. It wasn't anything to do with the storm. If I heard a storm, I was fine, but it was just the sirens that would set me off. I mean, still as an adult, when you hear sirens, I'm just like, ugh. I don't like them. So it's like, I would want to just hear from his words, and maybe then that would help do something like what June said, some type of exposure therapy or something like that. To
once again, think about the sensory dynamic as a
Yeah.
possibility.
I'm curious about the parents starting a business and how that's impacting this whole situation, because I feel like it's not really helping them, like being able to work through what's going on because they can't really spend a lot of time with Henry.
Yeah, how much of the clinginess is
right in
that.
right in there, that last time with him.
And he said it.
That's true.
Says he likes to be inside, so maybe just like normalizing for Henry, like it's okay to be an indoor cat and like play inside. Like not like feeling the pressure of like, oh my god, my parents are like want me to go outside all the time. Just like normalize it's okay to be inside too.
Yeah, indoor cat.
Oh yeah.
Any child of mine is going to be an indoor cat. I think because we immediately saw I think you mentioned the EAU like immediately, and that's kind of like the theme of it. So then eventually you would, what I remember from that section is you let the kid just bring it up whenever, and you say, that's right. It was really scary.
What
Yeah, and what happened
It was really
next?
scary. And then what? And then the teacher, what did the teacher do? And you just let them make up their own story as they go along when they're ready.
What about driving back to the school and walking around the grounds that now don't have any trees down?
Yeah.
It all got cleaned up. And let's walk through the school and look, all the lights are on.
What was the thing with the
What'd you say?
The remote controls.
Oh, right,
So if they're telling the story, like Katie was just saying, they wanted to hit the pause button. So giving them a remote control and say, maybe someday we'll come back to this part, but right now you can skip over it. You know, we can just hit the pause button for now. If you want to go back and talk about something different from earlier that day, we can do that too.
Think about if they're into like construction like equipment, like bulldozers and shenanigans like that. Like if they come out when big storms happen, you know, they're gonna move all the logs and fix the power lines and talk about those kind of things. So they're gonna be like, oh, now they're coming out to play, and so that they can think about that that's what they're doing when these storms happen.
So highlight the people who, and things that make things better.
Yeah, and so like if they like, you know, these things in order to like play with these toys at home or what have you, they're like, oh yeah. Like when kids are like obsessed with like garbage trucks for some reason.
All right. Well, thanks everybody. Good work today. We made it through. We did it. Not too painful.
I like that.
That was good.
Great.
It was good.